Powers is next, unless he got scared. No, he didn't. Eric wrote down what God has kind of done in his life to bring him to this point. He says, I certainly don't have a remarkable path to salvation. And I was telling Eric that even though he might not think it's remarkable, it's definitely relatable. And he said, I grew up believing in God and attending church occasionally. I focus more on Jesus as an important historical figure with a valuable moral message, more than as my personal Lord and Savior. I considered myself a Methodist, but I had a lot of Catholic friends, and I struggled to understand the differences between Protestants and Catholics until I studied European history in college. At that point, I grew pretty frustrated with organized religion and didn't think about a relationship with God. I worked hard, tried to be a good person, and grew increasingly independent. I was a strong student, good employee, loyal friend. I thought that being moral and working hard and helping others was enough. I didn't stop to consider God being even a part of the equation, but I knew I was often lonely and felt out of place, surrounded by the stereotypical college crowd. It wasn't until early in my teaching career when a persistent friend and colleague insisted I attend church with him that my eyes were open to what church should be. New Life Church was much like Bridgewater. Everyone was welcome and genuine. The church was service-oriented, and the music spoke to my soul unlike anything I'd experienced before. What began as an interest in traveling overseas as part of a missions team led to a life-altering chain of events. I started attending church regularly and committed to a missions trip to Nigeria. I met this awesome 3-year-old named Daniel during one of our planning meetings, and his mother. I joked that I met my wife Amy in Africa, which isn't technically true, but our relationship has its roots there. And the entire missions trip was instrumental in my gradual realization that God actually has a plan for me. I've earnestly prayed the prayer of salvation many times since returning from that trip in 2003 on my own and in multiple different churches. My faith has waxed and waned. It's been tested by loss and strengthened through the realization that life is pretty tough if you try to do it on your own. I've witnessed miracles, and my son Ethan's mere presence is a reminder of just how awesome God is. More than anything, my faith has grown through relationships cultivated in small groups and by witnessing the humble, incredibly selfish, and often obscure actions of members of this church community. Most of my life, I've struggled with the question of why God would have any interest in or care about me. I've never felt worthy of that love or attention. Even now, I know I don't deserve it. The difference is that I understand none of us do. God's grace knows no boundary. As my faith continues to grow, I'll need to be reminded of that, but hope to be able to help others understand what I'm starting to. As a young Christian, I didn't differentiate. He uses big, principle words. I didn't differentiate between being christened and being baptized. I didn't understand the need to publicly affirm my commitment to God the way I do now. While accepting Christ as my Lord and Savior is an incredibly personal decision, it's also one to share and celebrate. I hope that my choice will help others to see just how important a personal relationship with Jesus Christ is. Eric, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior? And are you ready in front of all of these people to make a commitment to follow Jesus Christ for the rest of your life? Well, then, based upon your profession of faith, I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.